Welcome back. And our first February female fitness myth is that fat, rice, carbs, bread, fruit, and so on and so forth will make you fat. So we're talking about demonizing whole groups of food or specific foods, and that eating those foods alone is enough to make you fat. So, for example, bread will make you fat. If you eat bread, you're going to be fat. Or, eating high-fat foods like olive oil or butter will make you fat just on their own. And especially for women, this just isn't true. For one, there's large discrepancies between quality and nutrition content of these foods. Like there's a big difference between your white bread and a handful of wheat germ or oats, right? There's a huge difference between olive oil and butter and margarine. So in that sense, these foods and whole groups of foods are not enough to make anyone fat, let alone women fat. And in fact, we like restricting fats altogether, especially for women, is quite damaging because we need fat for our hormones to work optimally. But today I'm going to concentrate mostly on carbs and grains, and I'll get into fat in another post later on. So first, I want to agree that we're probably overeating grains, processed grains. The recommended daily intake of grains for women aged 19 to 50. So let me say that again. For women who are menstruating regularly, so post-puberty, premenopause, is 6 serves of whole grains daily. In addition to that, checking my numbers, 5 serves of legumes and vegetables. So there's carbs in both of those food groups, lots of carbs, as well as protein and nutrition and fiber. They also should be eating 2 serves of fruit, 2.5 serves of lean meat, and 2.5 of dairy or dairy alternatives. Dairy is not just cow's milk, by the way. Like think goats, think alternatives like cheese and different animals, buffalo cheese, etc., etc. One of our primary pitfalls is lack of variety. So if we're going to get 6 serves of grains a day, the goal is not to eat them all in the form of wheat or all in the form of rice. The goal is to eat oats, quinoa, wheat, rice, barley, millet. That's where my brain has stopped, so that's where we're going to stop. Okay, variety, variety, variety. And the same with your dairy. It's not a glass of milk. It's goat cheese. It's eggs. It's there's my brain stopping again. Okay, so thing about the dairy is they're after enough calcium to maintain women's bone density as we age. So as long as you're eating a calcium-rich food like salmon, especially if you're eating a salmon with the bones, then that counts as dairy, right? They're just trying to simplify it so people like me can understand it. Now, this changes for women once they hit their menopause. So in the postmenopausal period, women are recommended to reduce their serves of grains by 2, and so you're getting 4 serves of grains a day, and then increase their dairy or dairy alternatives again to 4.5. Okay, so it's quite nuanced because even women at various stages of their cycle will respond to those grains differently as well. So in the second half of a woman's cycle, she's less insulin sensitive, which makes the whole grain low GI principle even more important. She will react differently to that white bread loaf in the second half of her cycle than the first half. So it's not simple. It's not enough to say rice, bread, carbs, fruit will make you fat, because they probably won't if you're within your dietary guidelines and you're active. Conversely, if you're a triathlete and you're doing 7 hours of exercise a day, you're probably deliberately consuming high sugar, high carb, like low complex bread a day just to fuel that activity. So again, it's more complex than one food group will make you fat. So don't demonize it or avoid it necessarily, but do be aware. So if you're buying packaging, if you're looking at marketing on a packet and it's telling you it's low carb and it's healthy and it's high protein, that's fine. But we have to understand that's marketing. It's showcasing. It's a performance, all right, to induce you to buy it. It's trying to influence your decision making. So we have to understand and get educated in reading packets and preferably eating foods from whole food sources, which makes it much easier for you to understand your serving sizes and to monitor whether or not you're eating too much or too little. Okay. Now, if you are gaining weight and you feel the urge to diet because of it, okay, first, we'd like you to check out, are you chronically stressed? Do you have a sleep disorder? Are you sleeping well? Do you have an underlying health condition such as a thyroid dysfunction? Is there a hormone imbalance? Hormone imbalances can lead to huge health concerns like PCOS. It could be as simple as you overeating, but it's unlikely to be overeating. It's unlikely if you modify your eating to those healthy sources and serve sizes and quantities that you'll continue gaining weight if that's the cause. And then if you're consuming processed and fast foods, a lot of us, again, buying foods that's marketed as healthy, but we're not educated in reading the packets. And therefore, we don't understand we're actually consuming extra serves of sugar, of processed carbs, of et cetera, right? So if you're gaining weight for no reason or you're struggling to lose weight, you need to build a team. So as personal trainers, our task is not to diagnose or really, if you're a trainer, resist the urge to flog someone who's gaining weight or who is overweight and not losing it, because you can exacerbate those underlying conditions we talked about before. So what you need to do is build a team. Personal trainers need to advocate for their clients. So if you're a client and you're not being advocated for or referred to a physio and nutritionist and naturopath, a Chinese herbalist, endocrinologist, you want to build a 360-degree bubble of health around your body. That will help you get to the root cause of your weight or your weight gain. And our role as trainers is not to flog people. We are to guide towards healthy food choices like the ones I've just outlined. But without a nutritionist's qualification, you cannot prescribe food or supplements especially. And working with a naturopath or a nutritionist is the best way forward. So if any questions come up from this, please let me know. I have enough myths to bust now, I think, till the end of March, but I might try to condense them a little bit. Either comment here or send me a direct message and I'll address them in coming weeks.